For decades, the Unified Examination Certificate, or UEC, has existed in a strange Malaysian limbo. Recognized by universities overseas, accepted by private institutions at home, yet largely shut out of public universities, not because of academic quality alone, but because of politics, identity, and unresolved questions about what it means to be a national education system. Supporters argue that UEC students are being denied equal opportunities, and critics worry recognition could weaken national cohesion, language policy, and the role of national schools. And every few years, the debate flares up again, louder online, sharper in politics, and with little resolution. This week on Scoop Insight, the debate flares up again. And we're here not to re-litigate slogans or racial talking points. We are here to ask a harder question. Is the UEC debate really about race? Or is it about whether Malaysia can design an education policy mature enough to accommodate diversity without fear? I'm Shazmin Shamsuddin along with Terence Fernandez. This is Scoop Insight. And joining us is Dr. Tan Yu Sing, chairman of Dongzong, the organization at the center of this long-running national debate. Welcome, Dr. Tan.
Thank you. Dr. Tan, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's get right into it. It's the 50th anniversary of the introduction of the UEC,
Right.
in 1975, formulated by Dongzong, your organization that you're leading today. And 50 years on, the debate is still the same. There seems to be some lack on Dongzong's side, or supporters of Dongzong, or maybe even a refusal for the other side to accept or understand what UEC is all about, because you kept talking that it's something to do with fairness and merit, and as you know, sometimes merit is a four-letter word in this country. So, how is Dongzong moving forward? Why are you still struggling to convince most Malaysians, especially the majority, why this is not a zero-sum issue, the UEC?
Firstly, I think we have to, whether we can agree that it is vital that education is an inalienable right to everybody. Parents who look into their children's education. So parent choice is always one that we have to actually serious respect about it. Now, if you look at UEC, how it started, it is not started by the sheer fantasy of the Chinese educationalists. They are forced into the situation. I think in the 60s, where especially during the British time, there are government exam, public exam, organized in English and Bahasa, also in Mandarin. So in the early 70s, 72, of course, the ministry have actually hoping that other than the Chinese primary school after Merdeka already accepted all into the national stream. So the secondary school of the Chinese school, the government offered to say, why don't you come into our system, the national system? And the government allowed them a choice. But if you come in, then the ministry will support you in terms of operational. Now, of course, if you surrender your right of the land, then the government will look at everything. But a lot of this school, they are more than 100, some even 200 years, 100 years plus. And every single dollar is come from the community, even the school land. So the community can decide. So more than half of them actually join the government stream. And actually only about less than 20 still insist they want to do the independent schools. But then because the government have different ruling, for example, if you are overage, you cannot continue, right? Cannot continue with that government school stream. Now, so that is how UEC, because there are those who are continuing and they how to further study after Form 5. What are they going to do? That's called senior military. So they start thinking about, why don't we have our own exam? Also, that's how UEC started. in 75. So to know how it started is also important. They are forced into the situation by default. And I must say it's a miracle that it can survive and it can even grow and it become even accepted. And I'm in education for 40 years plus. I think it is the only, I wouldn't say only, it is the best recognized university entrance exam, matriculation or A-level, whatever, in Mandarin for the whole world. Even China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, I feel that the acceptance of UEC into the top university is much more recognized than even some of this.
Okay.
So I find that you must know that, then you know why UEC become so important to the Chinese school. But it is a way for them to after 40, 50 years, they have already grown into a product. And I add on one last comment. Our country have been talking about how to make Malaysia the regional center of excellence for education. Remember? Maybe 20 years more than that ago. Right. And who talk about that now? Nobody talk about it. Because the PISA proof everything show that we also feel shy to talk about it.
Right.
But UEC is the world, not regional, world product, Malaysian product of excellence in the world.
Okay.
And I want to start off by saying that.
Okay, before, Shazmin's got a very important question to ask you. Okay. But before she goes into that, just so that we can lend some context and go back to basics about the whole birth of UEC, is that 50 years ago, 1975, there was heightened patriotism and nationalistic campaigns in mainland China. Okay, and in 1975 was just post 1969. Okay, what happened in 69, and it was also during the communist emergency, and so there was some form of demonization of the Chinese community during that time. So was that were these factors among the reasons why back then in 50 years ago, why there was heightened need among the community to have something like the UEC to protect the interests of the Chinese community?
Then maybe you have brought into open a new area of thinking. I never linked that up because I just know that because I have friends who at that time senior middle 3 and they take the first exam in 75 and nobody know whether it's recognized or not. But at least they say if you take this, the university in Taiwan, China can accept. Now, whether that link with the whole geopolitics, whether that link with what happened in China, maybe, but it is not an issue we always, within the Chinese education group, talk about. It's not an issue. But actually in 69, before 69, true enough, there were very intense competition politically, a lot undercurrent. So later, and then of course, emergency, everything. Yeah. So I would not rule it out. There are certain element of influence there, but I wouldn't say it's a vital.
Yeah, but let's not forget because the new economic policy, the NEP was also formulated during that period. So was there also at the back of the minds of those the leaders of the Chinese community and Dongzhong when they formulated the UEC?
Maybe mainly is because if you look at, immediate problem is that my student after senior military, where are they going to go?
Right.
And that's immediate.
Right.
And from that bigger ecosystem and the whole development said, our government is not taking care, so we better take care of ourselves.
Okay. Getting there, this may sound like a very simplistic question. You say that, our students, after they finish their exams, they don't know where to go. Was Bahasa Malaysia and history a part of the curriculum?
Of course.
Even back then?
Of course.
So why did things not link up together for it to become, part of the...
No,
part
of the national system. But as I say, there was a push by ruling party to to ask all the Chinese independent school to go into the national system.
Yeah.
When you go to national system, you don't run your own exam. You just follow. That time is actually MCE,
Right.
HEC. So a major part actually did that. So that's why independent school was on the way downward. The few who are very hard position like Fong Yu, like Marker, Pei Fong, even Klang, Hinghua, Hinghua. Like Guanghua, where I come from, they also and convert into SMJK, right? But when only about this less than 20 or so, they insist, then they'll find a way out. But why they insist is because, as I said, there are different conditions set. It's not that, you come in, there's everything you run the same. No, you change your curriculum, you have to follow SPM, you cannot use Mandarin as a medium, you must use English at that time. So there are many terms. For example, your student, if they are adult, a mature student, then you have to ask them to go, right? If your teachers is not a Malaysian, for example, or do not have a certain certificate of education, and you have to go. So there are some conditions set. The discussion was very intense.
Yeah.
In the Chinese community, the main call of the day for the leader of the Chinese education is don't accept. We want to maintain our own right of making our education right. But even then, because it's so attractive, because they are all running so tough, collecting money, raising money, tough. So majority accept the government offer. They move there. So the government at that time, the ministry may feel that okay, let the time go, and I think the independent school or Chinese education will die of a natural death because less and less students. But it turned out different because of there's a revitalization movement in para, because the para is the one who most in independent school, and everybody said go to SMJK until there are only few left. So they started correcting, saying that we cannot let it die . That's support. And then on the Chinese education side, there's a new leader who came out who are very gung-ho about it, who feel he want to support it, so he worked. So then they start planning a way out. UEC is only one of the action they take to revitalize the drive and the support of Chinese education.
But when some of these Chinese independent schools transition into national schools, is it because purely of funding issues, or was it an understanding by the Chinese leaders that we need to assimilate?
No. I think it's a funding issue.
Okay.
Yeah, the assimilation is not really the main driving force, but I think because the government offer berjanji tadi tepati actually, because there are a lot of, now they want to find proof also that, for example, they say, okay, you join and 1/3 of your subjects, that's announced openly, but each school have their own paper of this conversion, and they say 1/3 of the classes can be conducted in Mandarin. So that's the Chinese school, okay 1/3 although last time 100%, now 1/3, okay, but which is not true now SMJK, some of them have three period a week, three lecture period a week. Some like Guanghua still got 5. In Penang one, some of them 5 until they got 7. But 7 out of what? 37 or 30 or 40 is very small percentage. So, but I think at the end of the day, UEC is just a byproduct of the situation then. It's an unintended collateral, I won't say collateral damage, but collateral benefit. That they are forced into a situation. Then they actually look at something themselves.
These teachers back in the day, I don't know if that's the case now, but were they from China? Where were these teachers?
They're Malaysian. Many of them are graduate from Nanyang University. Nanyang University was set up again by the community, raising money throughout the whole country. And then they set up in Singapore. So they continue to study there. At that time, Malaysia, there is already a diplomatic relation with China, but normally people go to China for the study. They go to Taiwan, and Taiwan supported a lot of this gesture of teacher training. So they are Malaysian who graduate from Taiwan, from Singapore, Nanyang University. So majority of them are there. Of course, they have changed now.
So I think what we're trying to pinpoint here is, why is it hard for UEC and the national language Bahasa Malaysia to coexist?
No, I don't really understand your question because what am I coexist? Because they actually have Bahasa is a compulsory subject from the very first day, but of course they teach as a second language. Right. So maybe you can say their standard is slightly lower than a government school.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Now, but even now, for the last 20 years, a lot of independent school already, for a very reality issue, they allow or they encourage different school, different policy for their student to take another exam, SPM.
Right. So is Bahasa Malaysia, as far as the psyche of the Chinese community and the Chinese schools are concerned, is Bahasa Malaysia important as an exam to pass, or is it an important subject to learn to communicate with other Malaysians?
I think the issue of Bahasa Malaysia have been raised again, including our PM. It's already taken fact that the Chinese school emphasize on Bahasa Malaysia. Dongzhong, for the, I think, last couple of years or even longer than that, already accepted the fact that if the recognition of the itiraf is on the condition of SPM Malay credits or not pass credits, that's not an issue anymore. So there's no need to harp on that anymore. No, it's not an issue already. Dongzhong already accepted the fact. Even during Najib time, when there's certain offer, there were discussion. But of course, in principle, they accept and they have a few other negotiation. But actually, that's not an issue because for the last 10, 20 years, we find that our students taking SPM Malay, BM, they're performing very well. They're performing very well
in exams, but how are they communicate? How's
that is the issue. That is the issue.
Kefasihan
That's the
in
issue.
everyday
Right, that's the
life.
issue. Yeah. My whole question is, for me, no problem. But to speak in Bahasa, I'm weaker than. It's a learning atmosphere. Yeah. My schooling was in English now. So then we have to talk about how to improve their speaking skill. Because they are writing, this is no problem. This speaking skill. So that's why Dongzhong have already. I think I mentioned, I think you have my notes, that, for example, we actually work with Ikram to how to improve the speaking skill. We have various activities with Dewan Bahasa, right? So you will find some of the independent school students, they speak so well in Bahasa, in the Dewans. But the common student, yes, there's a lack of the environment for them to speak. Just like our government school student now, they cannot speak well in English. So what to do? So you cannot deny their ability, maybe writing English, but they cannot speak good English. So we have to think about how to improve that, rather than using that as a reason to say, no, I cannot recognize you because you cannot speak good Bahasa. And that, by implication, you don't have a national identity. So you shouldn't be, or the government or the country shouldn't look at you.
I think the schools, like the Chinese schools, they do a minimum of at least 2 periods per day, right? For Bahasa.
Yes. Quite. I wouldn't know because Dongzhong do not have the right of dictating how the schools run. Okay. Every school run their own.
But you have very strong persuasive powers.
We actually they accept our leadership. From the bottom of the heart, because we perform. I mean, that's how the leader should come. Leader shouldn't be there because regulation, everything. I think people support you because from the bottom of the heart, you are speaking for them and they accept you as a leader. So when Dongzhong come out with policy, generally majority accept. But there will be some who say, I don't like it. I don't want to follow you. So be it. So actually that should be an education. In fact, that's I'm always saying that our Malaysian education system is too centralized.
Right.
The ministry, and I remember one minister, 10, 15 years ago, also say, we were harping on from MEPCU to say education ministry nationally should be a facilitator, not focus on regulation alone. Look at US system. Look at Australian system. Now, compare with Malaysian system. So we are very centralized. So we are the innovative idea of the headmaster of the state's education people, I don't think they have a room to be creative now. And education has to be creative. Education has to be localized also. For example, let's say a school in Klang, near the port. You must allow the school to have some electives that's relating with the port, with the maritime industry. What's wrong? Well, you have a school in Kedah, they must have something about paddy, about AI application in the smart agriculture. Why not? So why must you? So the centralized should be on policy. Implementation should be localized.
It cannot be one size fits all.
Yeah.
I remember Shazmin, many moons ago when I was in the middle of waiting for my examination results when I was studying law, I go and teach. And one of the schools I teach was a Chinese school, SJKC Changmo in PJ Old Town.
Oh.
So the kids were good, but the PIBG and the headmaster was very active. And I get paid extra to have extra lessons after school for another 3 hours just to teach Bahasa and English.
Yeah.
Because they said they have to learn English, they have to learn Bahasa, and the headmaster said it's good. It's one of the schools with many non-Chinese teachers, and he says I want them to assimilate, with others. So I want them to speak in Bahasa. I want them to interact in English as well. So sometimes I come from a family of teachers. My father is a retired headmaster. So sometimes the school leadership is very important to shape policy, to shape the child.
I must say that I can speak for Dongzhong leadership of today. I can't speak for 50 years ago.
Sure.
I can speak for them today is we are very open. We think that Bahasa Malaysia is important. We are prepared to put resources to improve the speaking skill.
Right.
Not just to answer the criticism.
Right.
That issue, some of them will say, I don't bother, we just carry on our own. But it's important to upbringing the sort of right citizens of the country. And I really hope many of them will come back to contribute to Malaysia nation building.
I was talking to a friend of mine, he's 75 years old. And I said, I'm going to interview the chairman of Dongzhong today. I said, what are you talking about? UEC. And hey, and 50 years ago, they were talking about the same thing, and 20 years later, they're talking about the same thing, and today you're all talking about the same thing, Why are you all talking about the same thing? Actually, how can I answer my friend? Why are we talking about the same thing?
Now, that's why because of that, there are already a portion, I wouldn't say majority, but a quite significant portion already said, don't talk about the issue anymore. This government will change. We carry on. And our students, 85%, further study. Out of that, 25% go overseas, and they stay there, and they are all doing very well. PM went to Tsinghua, met a professor there who are actually very top science. I think he's a scholar there, and PM know about him, and actually was saying that he's here for Malaysia. You come back to Malaysia to contribute, and then you find out he is a UEC products. The USB. The Poon, you Selangor go and ask him to come back from Taiwan to invest here. All your USB that we are doing, he invented. He is from Peng Hoa Klang. So, a lot of the student UEC, so when they go overseas, they don't find the country need them. They feel they are rejected. So they have more reason for them to stay there. And I pity because many of them are very good in science and maths. And we are talking about talent, brain drain, talent corp and all this. We are trying to attract them back, give them good terms after they finish in Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard, everything. And at the base, you actually don't recognize them. So I like to look at the national productivity. I like to look at this country and this world now, we are about to go. If we got the right human resource, this country, sky is the limit, for us.
But coming back to brain drain, right? When these students go through the UEC system, what is the intention, the bigger goal? Is it to go for tertiary education overseas, stay there? That's a brain drain. How do we encourage them to come back.
Okay, now for the student who actually enroll in in secondary independent school, primary school, actually the one is another issue lah. That one now 90% of Chinese students are there now. Of course, other than the international school lah. During my time in the government stream, 60% in Chinese school, 40% in English school. You will find a lot of my generation who are English school products, right? Who don't even know Mandarin, right? What happened? Why is a shift until now? Not counting the international school, government school and independent school, 90%. No. Shouldn't we do a review about that? Because parents' choice, no. You cannot force them, right? Now, after that, when they go up, again, there's a misconception. Wow, majority of Chinese is in independent school, so that will affect our national unity. You know what is the percentage? 15 to 18% of the Chinese primary school go into independent school because they can't afford. They have to pay, no?
Yeah.
Right? From 200, 300 a month, now some of them 600 a month. No? But luckily, this school, we all will promote. You must take care of the weaker portion of the population or Chinese community. So they always give scholarship, they give a loan. So every school do have that, so that there's a better mix of their students. Not all from top class, all become very elitist. And elitist is a dirty word. Because the Chinese education don't accept that philosophy. Because our support is from the vast majority. The trishaw driver, the hawker, even the barber, they all donated money, you know. So how can you forget about them? So it is always important to have scholarships, right? Now, so that come back to your issue. Now, actually, if you look at them, I don't think when they go to independent school, they're already thinking about, I want to go overseas. Because, as I said, only 25% who want to go further study go to overseas. 75% local in the private colleges, in some of them go to SPM, STPM go to local university. Percentage is not big. But actually they have a lot of chance now for the independent school student. That's why that comment say, it doesn't bother if the government don't recognize. So it is it's a reaction. Can say it's not rational also. It is something like you like the girl, you keep on talking to the girl nicely, and the girl keep on rejecting you. After 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you also say forget about her.
Yeah, heartsick already.
Forget about her. I will look for another. Right. Correct? No? I mean, human nature. So those who are like that also have. I understand their feeling. They say you are wasting your time.
Okay.
Then you say you're wasting your time. Dong Zhong is wasting your time. So, but I think they take the strategy of both. I want to keep on improving UEC's standard, quality, recognition, scope of recognition, improving on their courses. The new courses, AI, everything must add on. At the same time, I want to interact, want to engage with the ministry, because if the ministry were to recognize in this, whatever that recognition to some non-Chinese, itiraf is a dirty word, you see. Right. So we go beyond the word itiraf, any other way of doing it or not. So Dong Zhong is actually very open, and we are prepared to engage and talk. But if you don't want to talk, then of course nothing can happen. Right? So not true. They all aim to go overseas, don't want Malaysia. No. They went overseas is again forced by situation. That means, as I said, if I finish already, government don't recognize.
Okay, the argument here is who's forcing you? You could have done SPM from day one.
Yes.
You get this conversation a lot on social media.
So now you must ask why they go to independent school. First, they have to pay money. Why? They appreciate Chinese culture. The founding principle of independent school Chinese for 100 over years is the Chinese culture. I'm from SMJK. To me, my upbringing, I think the Oriental culture, to me especially the Chinese culture, helped me a lot. I went to overseas, I went to UK, I studied there, management, everything in English. But when you talk about human relation with the natural, with the world, all this, I find I get a lot of from Chinese culture.
I think
Right.
Datuk and Shazmin, I think I need to bell the cat lah.
Ah,
Basically, there's no confidence in the national schools lah, isn't it?
yeah, that is another one.
that's
Now,
it.
no,
Yeah.
one is Chinese culture lah. Second thing, as you say, already, it is the school culture.
Yes.
Is hardworking.
Yeah.
You compete, you fail, then you have to repeat, and so it's a whole culture. In fact, that is why I emphasize a lot. School culture is most important.
Correct.
And one more thing is the teachers. Those teachers who come to independent school, many of them last time, their pay is very low one. So why you want to go in? So I have schoolmate in SMJK who went to Chinese school, tahan 2-3 years, I cannot, too low pay already, then they leave. But keep on having new people come in. So these teachers, when they come in, they look at the student like their own children, They teach them, as you say, and then there's a board who will support. Oh, you go and teach extra, I pay you as teachers. So it's a whole ecosystem that the parents feel confident.
Yeah.
And I think that is also important. The school discipline. I want to quote one example. Again, may not be popular. Even among my own contemporary. There's one professor, Chinese, but don't know Mandarin. Don't know about what UEC, all this. And he do a research about, there's one university, my own university, and they do a research about students who come in. Of course, majority are Chinese, but there are some others also. And to do it, when they come to this university, their English is not good. Both streams also not good. The SMJK stream or the government UEC Kebangsaan stream and the UEC also no good. But once they master their English 1 year later, the result of the student from UEC, quantum leap. Why? It's average. I cannot say, maybe they should do another survey now.
Yeah.
But I know, I look at my own children, I know.
Yeah.
They're self-disciplined.
Yeah.
They're self-disciplined. They are very hardworking. And I think the fact that their science and maths basis also better. They are at least about 1 year or even more compared with SPM maths results, science. But that is not good enough. That is only the same as Vietnam, Yeah. But if you compare to Singapore, they are even better than us. Compared to China, we are much lower.
Right.
So that is already the first time our ministry recognized, because McKinsey do that survey of the education blueprint and had come out and with data show that, wow, my God, we spend so much money. We spend the most, 1/3 in the spending top, and our result is 1/3 below. And this one now ministry cannot deny because it is their own survey.
Your own survey, yeah.
Yeah. So come back again. We must know why. Like for me, I'm from SMJK. I run university. I went to UK for so many years, 9 years. Why I still send all my 5 children to independent school? Because I want them to have discipline. I want them to know the value of family, oriental value. I have teachers who are very concerned about their upbringing and all this. The whole culture itself. And true enough, they all do very well. So and then why 60% of the Chinese community students go to primary Chinese school and now 98%. And why is there 20? The ministry say 18%. Now my figure recently we do surveying because all the independent primary Chinese school is also under our portfolio our member lah. So we can do survey also. About close to 24% now are non-Chinese in primary Chinese school.
I think that has a point also in the sense that there is no uniformity in the administration of national schools. That's why a lot of parents look at the PIBG, look who's the headmaster. Okay, so this guy is good. His emphasis is discipline, emphasis is sports, emphasis is academic, emphasis is extracurricular. But there are also some headmasters who are kaki bangku, just study.
Yeah.
And they are, and then this good headmaster sometimes gets transferred out. And then get somebody else coming in, and his emphasis is ugama. The brass band room gets converted into a surau. And I'm talking from real life experiences.
I know.
And of course that's kind of spooks some parents, and maybe that is where We also need to look into in terms of the administration of schools needs to be holistic and needs to be some kind of, like you go to Chinese school, all my nephews and nieces, all 9 of them, 7 of them, they go to Chinese school.
Oh,
Yeah, they go to Chinese school.
in KL lah.
In KL, Selangor, yeah. But they seem to have the common problem is that they don't converse in Bahasa very well. They do well in class, they do well in exams.
Yeah,
I tell them, hey, you need
I
to
know.
speak the national
That
language.
is our
lah.
challenge. That's our problem.
Otherwise I'm going to deport you back to India or China.
True. True.
So we need to emphasize on the administration of schools as well to bring back the confidence of the non-Malays, Chinese specifically. Because one thing about Chinese, you don't screw around with education. That's one thing we non-Chinese also know. When it comes to the education, don't mess. It's a hot button topic for the Chinese. You don't mess around with education, and that's why they want that.
And
that
another thing
control,
I add on is you said, derived from what you said, is there are also argument for UEC recognition. You recognize them. Some of them, they go to the local university. You're bringing them into an environment that they will interact, maybe at late hour, but they can still interact with all the other students, and they can improve maybe their national identity even stronger.
Right.
Why not? Because they don't have the system. But of course, in the secondary school, I'm encouraging, for example, the Ikram Muslim school. I'm encouraging independent school and Muslim school to form twinning at that level. Secondary school is secondary school. So like Guanghua, where and then we work with the Muslim school. So during festival, the students, they will come together, things like that. So we can do that. But again, I think that doesn't solve the problem. But it will solve the problem when the whole environment change. For example, a lot of independent school students, they don't speak good English also. Right. They don't speak good.
Right.
They go to UK, 1 year later, you go and see them, they speak so well. Then again, my own example, my own 5 children, their English is much better than me. After in UK.
No, but I thought the world is now changing to the point where now we might need no choice but to learn Mandarin.
That's another issue.
That is another issue.
Yeah, that's another issue.
Okay.
But I don't like the harp on that issue because that one is very, very very much about the commercial value, things like that. But it started Chinese school 100 years ago when there's no commercial value of Chinese. And why do they insist?
Right.
And to me, it's a cultural issue. And I find very important. I upbringing all my children. I don't want my children to all become Masaleh. I don't want them to all become religious. I want them to look at religion as their personal interaction with the God.
Right.
But they themselves must have family value. And I think that is important. I don't know about others, but I think Oriental, we emphasize a lot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a personal question? Okay, you talk a lot about culture and family and all this, but your detractors will wonder, like, are you Chinese first or are you Malaysian first?
I'm Malaysian first. So that's why I'm a Malaysian first. But again, this identity issue, I must tell you, we fall into the trap of you must choose. I will tell you, I think, I'm a Malaysian in terms of national policy, in terms of nation building. But in the Chinese festival, I'm a Chinese first because Malaysia have no meaning. In family, I'm a father first. Right? So why must you say identity? Why you force people into one thing or you must choose? Actually, your identity is multiple. Your identity, you are women, you are Malay, you are Malaysian. Your ancestors may come from Sumatra.
Yeah.
What's the problem? So there are a lot of terminology. We are restricting our mind. As you say, this is a world that's expanding so fast. Even language. You can use your handphone. You speak whatever language. I press whatever language you want to come out already. So I think we have to open mind. We have to open and compete with the whole world and think about what other people think. Empathy. Don't think about what we think. Wow, we Malaysians is very great. So identity is important. Identity issue to me is even more important during anti-colonial time. When we all ask for independence. We all say about one race, one language, but we want to unite to go again to get independence. This is not an independence era. This is no more. This is a net generation. This is a AI generation. What are we talking about?
Yeah, that's irony, isn't it?
Yes.
When you are abroad, overseas, You're
I'm
Malaysian.
Malaysian.
Yeah, true.
But when you're back home,
Precisely.
I mean, not we personally, but people identify us as
Indian,
Malay,
Malaysian.
Chinese, Indian.
Dan lain-lain.
No, I told my friend,
Yeah.
what is the problem when you are in UK? When you eat curry, you so like it. You bother Malaysia or Chinese food or not? Or it's a Malaysian food. You don't know whether it's come from Malay or Indian or what. Roti canai, we miss it. It's so expensive overseas in Chinatown. No? We enjoy it. We enjoy good enough. We feel very convenient. We wear sarong. What is the problem?
Right.
What is the problem? So
Not
I
problem
think
for
we.
me. All right, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, let's get a political honesty check. You're listening to a Podaboom podcast. For other exciting titles, check out Podaboom's full playlist on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Now back to Scoob Insight. And we're back. And before we get into the politics of today, with regards to the UEC, we've been informed a few things over the break.
So, Datuk, our guest today, Datuk Tan Yew Sin, from the chairman of Dongjong. Chairman or president? Chairman. Okay. So there's something that we need to lay on the table and clarify. Okay. This is a very important point, audience. UEC is in fact a Malaysian product.
Yes.
Nothing to do with mainland China.
No.
Okay, maybe Datuk, you can help to clarify that. to
Okay.
our audience.
Okay. I think, to be frank, when UEC started, they're starting from zero, nothing. So how to start? I started UEC before. I know it's tough.
Right.
So when they have to work on the curriculum, everything, they have to depend on people who write curriculum. So at that time, Malaysians who come back from Taiwan and come back from Nanyang University, graduate, they are our main labor force to work on all this. But at the same time, they make reference to Taiwan or China. It's possible. And I think it is unavoidable as well to start something. Just like a lot of private universities now, when they want to do something, twinning, they will go to US and UK and twin with them. Well, you want to go to African and twin with African university, cannot be one. So that is the first part. But that one have been changed long ago. That now the curriculum, everything. Look, for example, people keep on criticizing about we study about China history. And there are some UEC graduates who come and say, yes, I studied the whole year in China about China history. But you must look at which year they graduate, right? Because the China history, we already evolved and changed our text and curriculum. It become part of the East Asia history.
Okay.
So we teach China history in the context of East Asia, in the context of human civilization.
Okay.
Right. You talk about civilization, you have to. In fact, the history book of Dongjong have been highly appreciated by even our late Professor Koh Kay Kim.
Right.
Because he said that this is a broad world history, world perspective. Our students need to know about how Romans started, how the Greece, even Mexico, the Maya civilization. Why not? You must have that. We are going to build a graduate of world perspective, not of Malaysian perspective. Malaysian identity is important, but it has to actually interact with the world.
Right.
So that is why Dongjong emphasized a lot about the world, about civilization, but it must always focus back to Malaysia. That is where our root is. So it is a balance. And Prof. Goh, actually, Koh Kay Kim, our late Professor Koh Kay Kim, our history experts,
Yes.
he actually said it is a more balanced way of looking at history. Right? So that is answer to some comment about, the history book is from China, from Taiwan. These are ages ago. Not
But
valid.
it's formulated by Malaysian of Chinese ethnicity.
Yeah.
That's it.
But actually now our experts actually we do have Malaysians, but we also get experts from Taiwan, from Hong Kong, from Singapore.
Yes.
And we try to get their experience, everything. But I actually also want to hopeful that our council of advisors in all these subjects to have other races of Malaysian. Like,
Okay.
for example, our English council of the English experts, we have other races, and even our bahasa. Bahasa, sometimes we also invited one or two, I won't mention name here, to come in to help us. Of course, we also try now, we're working very closely with IKRAM because they have a lot of abundant supplies of professors, academicians, and they are very open, they want to help us. And of course, we also try to work on day one. Day one, the purpose, especially from Bahasa, their purpose to improve. They did not say, I want to improve the standard of Bahasa only for government school. That's not day one's role.
And also to just to bring it to point that UEC does not compete with SPM.
No, of course not.
Because UEC is equivalent to your A levels and your STPM.
Actually, the student of independent school in the senior middle 2, they take SPM exam. Then senior middle 3, they take UEC.
Okay.
That's why your proposal for university entrance using UEC is at least a credit in SPM Bahasa Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yes?
No, not my proposal.
I said Dongzhong, I mean.
No, you heard not Dongzhong. Is the government actually at one time negotiation, talking, engagement, talk about BM. And we say that we definitely accept that. And actually there's no issue on that. It's no more issue, no need to talk about that anymore.
Okay. Which brings us back to the politics.
It's not, it's not my proposal.
Of course,
It's the ministry and the national system proposed that, and we actually very willing.
You were okay with it? You accepted it?
Of course.
So I hope that clears the air because, your detractors, UEC detractors are always saying the BM is the issue, Sejarah Melayu Malaysia is the issue, all the syllables is very focused on China. That's not the case.
It's a misunderstanding. A lot of misunderstanding. Some are actually because they don't know. Some are with other ulterior motive. Purposely try to misunderstand. As somebody say, when you pretend to sleep, you cannot wake him up.
Okay. Well, let's talk about politics. Okay. Every election cycle, UEC recognition resurfaces and then nothing changes. Do you think this is a policy problem or a political courage problem?
I think, as just now you mentioned that actually education is actually the central concern of the Chinese community. I'm not saying other community also, or like the Malay community, they emphasize about education, Indian also. A lot of third world, they emphasize education is so important for their children. So that is why, and I think different political party, especially those who are Chinese-based, they know they have to answerable to this issue. So various of them become ruling, whether it's MCA, DAP, at a different time, they promise things, they actually put down in their election manifesto, everything. But of course, they may actually forget, but we never forget. Because you have already put in the election manifesto. Not like one elder politician say election manifesto is not Bible or Quran. So I don't accept that. I find that it is a promise to the electorate and to the general public that you are going to go towards that. And I hope all political parties remember when you put in an election manifesto, people are going to judge you on that. So now I won't be surprised, you see, when in Sabah, some of the results come out, then political parties start raising the issue for whatever reason, and that become a topic. And that is why I said that UEC is not a product for you to utilize or manipulate just for your political gain. Right? Whether you are from which party, it doesn't bother because the Chinese Community Association in the 80s already come up with a position. We're concerned about politics. We are non-partisan. We are above political parties' interests. If your vision is aligned with the community interest and aligned with human rights, with nation building, everything, we support you. But if you are not aligned, whichever party you come from, we are not going to lend you the support openly. Now, so they all want to talk about UEC. Hopefully, they all contribute in a positive way. Let's talk about how to improve, how to open up the route for engage, and then, or even UEC give constructive suggestion. How can we reform? Reform is a nice word now. Reform to make sure we less worried by those who don't understand UEC. We can, but of course there is a bottom line. The bottom line is Chinese school started because we want to promote Chinese culture. But the Chinese culture got universal value. The Malay, the Indian, all the Oriental people like it. Family value.
Yeah.
The respect for elders, all this. So that is what we feel that in the country of Malaysia, where I strongly believe multiracialism is the DNA of starting of Malaysia. I'm not talking about starting of Malaya, Malaysia. So we want to look at multiracialism become an asset now, in this world now.
Right.
It's no more a liability, it's an asset. We should actually say Malaysia is the best example of multiracialism, and that's why when this audit in China, US, Japan all come and get our students to work for them, because our students, you can throw them to Africa, they can survive. You throw them to Middle East, they can survive. You throw them to China, even a Malay go to China, so he can survive. But he actually interact with Chinese before. So, but let's say China, the One Belt One Road. I met many of their businessmen. He tell me, I like to employ Malaysian youngsters. Do we know that our PM went to China, met China leadership, and one of the main issue is about our TVET. And China is providing 5,000 scholarship for short courses. And recently, on the end of August, our DPM now is all in charge of TVET Council. He went to China, signed, and another offer, 2,500 scholarships. Why? Because I think China know that when these students come from Malaysia, a majority are Malay students. The first 5,000 are exclusively on almost all Malay. But this 2,500, Zahid have announced 500 for non-Bumi, 2,000 for Bumi. Okay. And why China want to give this scholarship? Just pure social welfare? No. They know that when they want to go in One Belt One Road to invest China company, everywhere there are limitations. Malaysia, 30% China nationality, 70% must be local or non-Chinese citizen. So if Malaysian train up these tens of thousands of students who are very flexible, who are multiracial, who can know a little bit of Mandarin, even though Malay students going to China, they have to involve in 1-2 year spoken, simple Mandarin, good enough. So Malaysia is in the best position as a multiracial country to capture this human resource. And then our students will have a chance to go to Africa, work with a firm there, and after a few years come back. Then you are linked with the African. And we have another big portion is America. Malaysia, business-wise, we have very little interaction with some American country. Brazil, Argentina, all is a big country. The BRICS are, so Malaysia go to BRICS, fantastic. I'm from Malaysian China Chamber of Commerce. I'm very sensitive about economics. This nation, we have been lag behind too long. We keep on to compare with Singapore. Remember during independent time, what is Singapore?
Right.
And now, do we have the courage to say, I want to compete with Singapore or not? Look at the currency. Look at SIA and MAS. So we are behind. First thing is we recognize the problem. Then we face the problem. Then we solve it. And we can be, if not like Singapore, even better than Singapore. Especially now with that new geopolitics, we are placed very well. Our existing government is doing very well. Politics, that they have a nice balance between the two superpowers. And we get the best of both worlds. So let's don't argue internally. Let's focus on how to train our youngsters to have job everywhere. And then we will get more of the international company, multinational, FDI to come to Malaysia.
So many of us feel that it was opportunistic of the DAP to stir the UEC pot immediately after losing very badly in the Sabah elections. Suddenly they want to remind the Chinese community that, we are your champions. They want to make themselves relevant. So the easiest thing to bring up are issues that stir or spook the Chinese community, which is basically education and the economy and the Chinese community's presence and place in Malaysia. But I also think, I mean, you've been articulating how important it is to have the reforms, of education, which includes acceptance of UEC. Are you kind of glad that that DAP actually brought up the issue, although it's opportunistic, that we are talking about it again?
I mentioned the Chinese community or Chinese association activists. We are non-partisan. We don't want to give comment about what they do, but we all know whether if any action that can contribute to the recognition of UEC, we welcome.
Right.
So if it's purely as a rhetoric to say, we want to work and then no action, then I think those are pure political talk.
Yeah.
But if the DAP actually do a review and find that ways that they can help and then to get engaged and pass a message to some of his colleagues in Pakatan, or even try some of them, like I mentioned name, like for example, Asmin was saying, I also recognize UEC during in Selangor when he was Menteri Besar.
Yeah.
Well, we welcome that. Sabah and Sabah come and say, we recognize, we welcome. So in the way that we welcome any action, any even narrative that help for those who have reservation on UEC to understand more about UEC, we welcome that. But we will not want to draw into the argument between political party. And then they say, you did not get recognized or your election. I think there are a lot of, what I would say, politicking.
Right.
And each of the political party, they will have to defend themselves. We are going to keep out of that.
Because you mentioned recognizing the UEC was also in the manifesto of Pakatan Harapan.
Yes.
And 3 years on, and DAP was very quiet about it. 3 years on, they lose Sabah and they're losing relevance within the community. Suddenly they remember, we did say the UEC.
You should have a session with some of our DAP leaders. Ask them, not me. You say, I'm non-partisan.
Okay, but does Dong Zhong feel abandoned?
Abandoned?
Yeah.
In what sense?
With regards to DAP and, when they bring up these issues or don't bring it up.
Abandoned.
Yeah.
I never thought about that words, abandoned.
Abandoned.
No, the abandoned, we actually, we have been good relationship with all the political party. Recently, we visited, actually the DAP came to Dong Zhong, visit us. We talked about the issue and we went to MCA and talked about the issue. We were in Sarawak, talked to the Sarawak government, SUPP, and Gerakan also. Gerakan is Perikatan. We also, so you can see Dong Zhong is actually like to engage and talk as long as it's very rational. So in a way, I don't think that abandoned issue, that feeling never come because in a way when we talk, they will react because they know it's very important.
There's an engagement there.
Engagement, and they will actually respond to us. So far, I must say, Dong Zhong, in fact, is a darling of all the political party.
Really?
Yes, because they hope that if we were to openly say, wow, this party, ABC, Dong Zhong support, wow, they were so happy, So that is why, in a way, they appreciate our role. They also want to be very careful. And in a sense, I think Dong Zhong did get the benefit of the confidence of the Chinese community and then extend over to all the political party. They also want to keep this channel of interaction and communication with us. So, of course, sometimes they do have criticism on some of the things. For example, if I were to say something, that's why this podcast, I'm very careful. If I say something, one party feel, hey, you are talking for that party's behalf, and they may attack me because it's an opposing party. So I have to emphasize the word non-partisan.
But how has your interactions been with the Malay parties, the Malay groups, the Malay NGOs?
Okay.
I know you mentioned Ikram several times.
Ikram and Abim is our closest contact because of social work, Bersih, and also education, GBM, things like that. Political party, we are actually very keen to actually interact with them. Of course, Bersatu, we have actually talked to someone inside, but Bersatu now is so confusing. The one we talked to also get entangled into their internal politicking. I don't know what happened. In fact, I was hoping that we can see some of them, the senior people.
Having a leadership crisis.
They're a bit busy right now.
So they are busy. So the few I talked to, friends inside, who are more open to engagement, they did not respond so far. I think their survivor also is talking. And then for past, when I was in Selangor Chinese Assembly Hall, as early as in the 80s and 90s, there's called CRC, Civil Rights Committee, where Dr. Kwok Kia Sung and we all were there. So we already interacted with past Nakai Yawan. Of course, again, later he joined UMNO. So we did have, and I welcome the opportunity to talk to past. And Dong Chung is prepared to talk to any party.
Okay.
Frankly speaking. So here I can openly say that if any party, because sometimes we don't know the people there, don't know who to approach also. But if you were to officially write a letter to them, and also very funny because need time, just like we went to Sarawak, we don't have to use our Dongzhong Sarawak branch to find out a time and then the topic to talk, and then the premier was not free, but you get the deputy premier to meet us, things like that. So in a way, yes, even Sabah, the new government now formed, and I told my Sabah, Dongzhong got every state. They say they were and maybe after New Year. So I need to wait for their response. I hope to Johor is now very important because Johor now a lot of projects ongoing and a lot of training, human resource needed. So I was hoping to go to Johor, maybe meet the Menteri Besar. So we went through political party to interact. We went through some business people. I won't get response. But in short, we are interested to engage with any parties.
Okay. But are you doing enough to engage the Malay communities directly? Because I guess the noise, the conversations online, offline is happening in this community. What are you doing about that?
Now, you see, I have interacted with some before, like iGuru, and so interact, and there's somebody very approachable, talk to us. But at the end, we find, I think they come and talk. I have to be very careful with the words. There are other reason to talk, not to come and understand. But I have actually very open-minded talk with Ikram, where I find they are sincerely trying to understand, trying to promote this interacting culture. So Dongzhong ourselves, and that's why you see us here, this is another effort. So to have friends who come, who are from different community, and I will openly say here, if any non-Chinese interested to work in Dongzhong full-time, welcome. We welcome to employ different people. Whether you know Mandarin or not is another issue. You know Mandarin better, but you don't know also it's okay, because I want to have even the Dongzhong, the committee or the working staff team will have also interaction, will have thinking about or understanding how do other community think, and that's important. So we are doing our part. We hope we will get rapport from other organizations and those who sincerely want to interact, want to understand each other, not coming with the motive for trying, understand more, get the material, then say go to the court case, and then and come and challenge us. Then we got headache also, you see. I was very open. Then some of my colleagues also criticized me because I entertain them, I talk to them, but at the end they get material, and then they will do something of their own agenda. Now, of course, we have to learn the lesson also to how to get at least though not just friendly, those neutral body, those prepared to understand, because for national interest, I'm prepared to talk.
No, the sad part is everybody understands and appreciates the issues, the topics, and the importance of what we've been discussing today. But unfortunately, the politics gets in the way.
That's another
But I wanted to ask you about the task force that was set up some years ago. And because earlier you mentioned Professor Khoo Kay Kim, So it just reminded me that his son Edin chaired the task force on UEC.
Yes.
However, we never saw the report of the task force findings because it was overtaken by events. COVID was one, and then the multiple changes in government, in leadership was another. Could you give us an update on or refresher on what that task force was about, why it was set up, and what were the findings?
Okay. Again, I have to be very careful in how to answer the question.
Because I thought you were also on the task force, right?
Yes.
At that time, you were the deputy chair of Dongjong.
I'm one of the three
Right.
in the task force. Edin is assigned as a spokesperson. He is the only one by the ministry then to say he can speak on the task force. Not me, not the others.
That was under Dato' Mazli, or Dr. Mazli.
Yes.
He was the education
Right,
minister.
right. So,
So Mahathir's administration lah.
Yeah. To make it clear lah. But of course, when people take a task force, they keep on talking about PBUEC. But actually, there were a few task force formed. There's a task force about education reform, chaired by my good friend, Dr. Bajuni.
Oh, Ibrahim Majudin. Okay.
And there were task force formed.
Institute Aminuddin Maki.
Yes. And there were something formed, and some of my friend Wong Chin Hua, Amiga was in there talking about reformasi. So there are a few task force, and all the task force are the same. They suffer the same fate. They all put under OSA and no report. Right? So, but people keep on harping on the PPUEC because the issue keep on coming up. People forgotten there is other task force also formed, right? And there's no result because the government is short-lived, short life also stop already. Now, but it started good reason because in their election manifesto they talk about recognition of UEC. So Mahathir at the time come up, may want to have at least a gesture, even if it's not truthful. He want to recognize, I don't know, a gesture of say let's look at that. And Masli was actually from academician, so he is also very sincere. He want to talk about it. That's why he appoint three. And I know him, and he appoint me not because of Dongjong background. In fact, he don't even know I'm in Dongjong. So he was saying he was so surprised when he later found out after appointment. We found, hey, you are from Dongjong. But if he know earlier, I don't know whether he will appoint or not. I don't know. But anyway, he got Raimi from Abim. And you got Edin, right? Now, I mentioned about late Professor Koh Keng Kim is also in this committee when they interview, because Edin do a good job. Edin give all the textbook history, textbook of UEC to him. Because he also hear, wow, these are all from Taiwan, China, how can? But Edin give him and he read through everything, so he interact with us. But I cannot say more than that because it's OSA, you see. But basically it's like that. Question about the task force. The best person to talk to is Edin. Okay? And your good friend Edin.
Yes, my good friend Edin. Our good friend Edin. Yeah.
And you can invite him to podcast also because and that day I think in Malaysia Kini you have a good session with YB Teng Ching Kim.
Teng Ching Kim. Yes.
And they have a good session. And I think he answered some of the thing in there. So in short, what he say is we have finished and there's no, actually, there's no consensus. That's why I say that between the three. Right. But he did say that the report is ready, and but nobody asked us to submit the report officially. But Edin have his own way of handling things. He feel that I'm not a civil servant. I work so hard, so many meetings, town hall, everything, and spend so much time writing everything. And now you write in to him as a chairperson of this task force, then we present to you. But why nobody write in? Why different minister of education don't write in? Everybody don't want to touch the hot potato. Just hope that you forget about it because it doesn't solve the issue. But you have one value, and I don't regret of joining. He said, is official task force that gather information from different people who are for, people who are against. From Dongjong, we managed to get all our material in there, and it's the first time the ministry or everything have that full record. And now they know quality one, academic quality, you cannot question anymore. So even those who are critical about the Dongjong, in that interview, they all say, well, academic, we have recognized. Some of them even use I would say unreasonable. You say, your quality is very good. And 72 onward, you choose not to join to the national stream. So be it lah. You're very good. Overseas accept you. Go lah. You go out. Because you choose not to be in our national system, don't ask for position or the entry now. Go overseas lah. Like you go lah. I don't want you. As you are saying that, that is the problem. Do we want to use that and to chase all these people out after they graduate from 5 or senior military? Or do you value them as anak Malaysia? They can contribute to this nation building, and many of them, their family is here. If you give them a chance, they would like to stay on. I think that is the crux of the matter.
Where you heard it? Yeah. The findings of the UEC task force is under OSA. Typical Mahdi.
Dato, if UEC continues to be excluded, what happens to these
to be what?
students?
Excluded.
What happens to these students long term? And all the students to come?
No. Now you must know that firstly, Dongzhong is already approaching different states. States already said, like Sarawak, Sabah, Selangor, Negeri Sembilan, Penang, and we are hoping to meet up maybe Johor, or maybe even Kelantan, Terengganu. So all these states have already said within their states judiciary, they are jurisdiction. They are actually saying that I can recognize for them to enter into state-run tertiary education, like Selangor, UNICEF, they accept, right? Sarawak, there are 5 universities. Sabah also. Okay. Second, they are prepared to accept them to apply for state civil servant and state civil servant lah. For example, Invest Selangor. They can apply. So the number of students, our data now show 85%. The lowest in any independent school is 75%, 70% go over further study. Now, the highest is 98, 99% further study. Like Klang, a few of them, and then KL1, 98% go further study. So the average out about 85 go further study. So there are 15%. If you look about when they finish their secondary school, let's say now it's about 10,000, and 10,000 out of that, about 15%, 1,000 over, who will be left behind, nowhere to study, they will go to work. And some of them, some of them are very poor background, so those get scholarship. If results still no good, and then they may go anywhere, just work. So our whole issue is, first, if UEC is recognized, this 15% may have a chance to study local. The local is so much cheaper, right? Second is, those who go overseas or further study in private university, everything, they may then shift their path to go to government university, right? So in that sense, we are capturing this different pool of talent. But you must know now, look at Singapore, who are very sharp in talent grooming. They come to Malaysia. They give scholarship, not to SPM, STPM student, no. Many of them, they go straight to independent school, attract our student there. Right? There are students who get accepted by Tsinghua and Beijing University, top in the world, and top 20 in the QS ranking. But Singapore government give them scholarship, and they go to Singapore, it's closer. Come back also easier. So my whole question is, China, top university, Tsinghua, Beijing, Fudan, all this, every year go through Dongzhong, come and give scholarship, And some of them free, some of them half, and this and that. So you find a situation, that's why a bit imbalanced for some of the graduates of the UEC, that I'm actually not accepted to entry and give scholarship, no. Yeah. But our country, I don't even have a path to go in. Then you talk about direct entry now. So that means the places there are. I think UEC, there are people also say, and there are some so-called pretend to care for UEC, for the Chinese student who tell me in this dialogue session with the PPD UEC. You say, oh, UEC recognize. How? Then you are taking away the places for the non-Bumi in the quota. What nonsense. Firstly, you must question, why is there such a quota? Second, even you can keep, now maybe only 10 and 15% go to non-Bumi only. No. So this UEC can be above that. That's not just like your direct entry. Why don't you talk about the quota in the direct entry? And you talk about subject or the media instruction. What about international school? What about this MARA, at least the UITM? I mean, how are you going to? So it is double standard. It's the whole issue. That's where come to the really bottom of how the Chinese community feel so frustrated is, are we treated fairly and equally or not? I mean, that is the issue. Even if some of the family don't have a student in the independent school, because only 18% are there, and another 81% are outside one. But why do they also support? It is actually, in a way, also symbolic. It actually to recognize multi-stream is an asset of this country, and then we don't want to victimize or sideline them because you accept them to exist already for hundreds of years. So just give them the chance. And you can actually say, oh, I want to give only a small percentage. I want to get a top student. Also can. Or if not, you say, I want to give scholarship to the top one to come to our medical school. Also can. Why you want them to go to Singapore, become a medical doctor there, and you don't want to train them here if they are so top, bright? So there's another symbolic is, do you want to treat Malaysia, all the different races, multiracial, is our basis of this country, Malaysia, and from moving forward, do you want to get all this consensus and coherent to move together for nation building? But if you don't want, of course, the power in hand, you can decide, but then you cannot stop them from moving. The world is borderless now. They're going to move. They're going to move on. So as you mentioned, that's how they say, why bother? So this why bother become stronger and stronger. And I got a pressure also. They say, why don't you want to keep on talking about recognition? You spend your time. This is almost like Sarawak. When they first started, I tried to fight it 5%, 20%. Now the feeling is what? Why bother? Sarawak, we have our Sarawakian. We take care of Sarawak enough already. Autonomous at least. But the grassroots feeling may be even stronger, drifting away. For nation building, that is bad. I feel strongly that Malaysia must have Sabah and Sarawak. If not, it's not a full Malaysia anymore.
We agree.
Okay.
All right.
Finish.
Well, Datuk Tan, thank you so much for joining us today. It was quite a heavy discussion, yeah?
Yeah. It's a very interesting discussion. A lot of things that we discussed there, and a lot of things that put into perspective, very importantly. And I'm very sure, a few months or years down the road, we're going to be talking about the same thing all over again. The next election cycle is coming up in a year and a half.
Yeah.
We'll probably be discussing this again. But Shazmin, thanks for hosting us.
Well, thank you so much,
Thank you.
Datuk Tan. And this has been Scoop Inside.
Okay.